I was sitting in the dugout at home, sipping water out of a small paper cup next to my catcher. Especially after an overnight bus ride, I get a lot of coffee in my system to ensure that I was alert on the mound. As we sat in the dugout, he looked over at me, water cup in hand. His eyes got wide, and in his thick New York accent said, "Bro, your hand is shaking. You need to lay off the caffeine." My hand was shaking, legitimately shaking like I had just been pulled out from an icy river with hypothermia. The water in my small paper cup was sloshing around as I tried to drink. It wasn't caffeine, though. It was my arm. I couldn't hold a 6-ounce water cup steady, but the combination of ibuprofen, caffeine, and adrenaline allowed me to, every fifth day, throw a baseball 92 miles per hour 120 times. And that, in a nutshell, was the grind of pro baseball. One at a time, I pieced 19 starts together like that. Yet, it was always what I wanted. I was living my dream, and I did what was necessary to protect it and keep it alive. The sun shone on me as I played catch and ran sprints during pregame. The grass was always a deep emerald green, and the mounds were beautifully maintained. Little kids asked for my autograph, even though the Sharpie was more valuable. The pain was worth it. Just 5 more minutes. In college, I sat the bench as a freshman because I wasn't good enough to play over other guys. But here, I was penciled in for innings. I earned them on Friday nights in college when I was at home doing rehab and working on my mechanics in the mirror. They were my innings. 2 years later, I made my first All-Star game. It would have been a big, triumphant moment, except I sat through it, awaiting my second Tommy John surgery. That felt the way you think it'd feel. I was the leading vote getter in the Frontier League in 2012, which meant I would have been the starting pitcher for my division. The kicker was that the game was held in my new hometown of Normal, Illinois. The prospect of me being the All-Star Game starter in my hometown, with my baseball academy clients and friends in attendance, it sounded so great, but didn't happen. Instead, I merely acknowledged the crowd as they called out my name, introduced as a reserve player. They got a forced smile and a half-hearted wave. I didn't let that all-star bid become my last. 3 years later, I got off to a great start with Camden in the Atlantic League. The problem was, like most years, I wasn't healthy. My workload suddenly jumped from normal to high in a span of a week, compensating for the few pitchers who went down with injuries. Being relied on is great. It's what you always hope for as a pitcher. I was our setup man, and we were in lots of tight games, which meant I often got the call. But after a stretch where I threw 5 out of 7 days, my elbow wasn't ready for it and flared up. A few weeks later, as I continued to pitch through it, one of my bullpen mates beckoned to me in batting practice. "Blue, come here." BP was always our time to gossip. I walked over, wondering what he had for me. "Dude, how's your elbow?" "Not great, but the doc said it's just tendonitis. It hurts kinda bad in the bullpen, but it's usually fine in the game. I'm getting through it." He wasn't satisfied with that answer. "Look, why don't you take a cycle of HGH? Just take one. It will heal you up so fast and you'll be done with all this." You could do Winstrol too, an anabolic steroid taken commonly by sprinters. Either one would be good. You'd be back throwing hard, bro. I was a little shocked. "Nah, I can't do that," I replied. "Why not? One quick cycle. They never test anyway. You'd be back off in a month and you'd be good to go." "Yeah, but 2 things. 1, I'm afraid of what that stuff does to your body. And 2, if I got popped, it would ruin everything I've ever done. Everything. No one would know or care if the truth was that I just did it for 1 single month. 2 surgeries, 2 comebacks, man? It wouldn't matter. I'd be a steroid user. The only reason I came back would be because of the steroids. I just can't do that." "Okay, I get it," he said, backing off as I drew my line in the outfield grass. I just couldn't devalue what I'd been through. If the doctor prescribed it, I'd take it. If I could buy it with 100% certainty it was legal, I'd consider it. But even then, I stuck mostly with food and didn't bother so much with supplements.